Hey guys, it's Kat and I am back today to do some more lipstick arm swatching. So if you are new here, I spent pretty much all of last year and half of this year testing out my lipstick collection. There were over 500 lipsticks. I've decluttered over 200 by trying them out. So that was my Project Apocalypse series, and the remaining lipsticks I wanted to do sort of swatch off comparisons to see if I've got a lot of double ups, and ultimately, do I want to keep the double ups? Do I want to get rid of a couple? This is sort of like a second round of decluttering. Previously, I've done like glossy nude lip balm, lip glosses, lipstick sort of video. And I've also done colored lipsticks. This video is going to be the matte nude sort of lipsticks. So liquid lipsticks. There might be some satiny formulas in there as well, but it's pretty much the more bold nudes rather than the glossy nudes, because glossy nudes I've already done. Now, if you're here and you're expecting a major declutter where I'm getting rid of like a third or half of my lip products, it's not going to happen simply because I've done that already, and these are the products that I like and want to keep. This is just about like, do I need 5 of the same tone of nude? The answer is probably no. So this, again, is that second round of decluttering, and anything I declutter from this series is sort of like a bonus. So at the very end of this series, I will conclude how many products I've in total decluttered throughout this whole like 2-year journey. But I do have a couple more videos of these to go. So I do have a red video, which I'm scared to do because there's a lot. I'm a red lip lover and there's a lot. And I'm also thinking of potentially doing a lip stain video. That'll be a smaller video, but because it's going to stain my arm in one go, I'm gonna decide how I tackle that one. So there's at least one more video, maybe 2 left in this series. So if you do want to see that one, it should be up in a few weeks' time. And don't forget to subscribe to see it if that's what you want to do. But let's get on to some arm swatches. All right, I had a very hard time splitting these up to figure out which shades to compare. I was like, maybe I'll do, you know, the same formulas. And then I thought that doesn't make sense because I'm trying to eliminate redundant shades and redundant formulas. But to really knuckle down and find out which ones are similar, I'm going to have to sort of compare shades. The ones here that I'll swatch first is actually my most used nude color, which is more of the neutral. On me, it's sort of, look, it's more my lips but better. So it's not very light nudes, it's not very dark nudes, and I have quite neutral coloring. So these aren't too rosy, they're not too goldy. These are just like your standard neutral shades. So these are the ones, again, I'm going to probably find, like, there's going to be some redundancy here. I know these 3 from Kaleidos already. They're too similar, so I've got to get rid of some. But these are my most used sort of color story. So this is probably what I'll keep the most. What I have over here is more of the rosy, taupey sort of shades. I think I did cover some greyish taupe colors in my color video. So these are what I would consider more nude, but there are some that are quite colorful compared to like this lot here. So these are some pinky shades, maybe a few like peachy shades, rosy shades, that kind of thing, mauvey shades. These aren't shades that I wear as much as this front group. Then over here, these are darker and more sort of sandy, warm tone shades. So I have some that are just a little bit slightly orange toned. I did cover sort of burnt orange shades in my last video, so the color video. And I'll also talk about bright orange shades probably with my reds. But there's more sandy, deeper shades here. So some of these are quite deep and some of them are quite, different toned. You'll see, we'll swatch. And then over here, which is a fairly small category, and I could have lumped it in here, these are lighter shades. So they're sort of similar tones to these ones here, but they're just lighter colors. I don't have many because I don't like that sort of concealer lip look, but some of these are pretty. So yeah, I'll start here and then I'll see where we go. All right, so I've sort of rearranged these a little bit to make a little bit more sense. I'm going to start by swatching these sort of liquid lipstick type formulas. So I've got Too Faced, I've got Kester Black, that's Ciate, M Cosmetics, Sigma, Pixi Beauty, Kaleidos, and this is a Labiotte. It's like a stain, but effectively it's a liquid lipstick, let's be real. And then I'm going to do some crayon type products. These are NARS, this one's Bourjois. Then we've got some MAC lipsticks. These are getting into bullets. So those are all MAC. That's a Charlotte Tilbury. This is an Essence. That is a Nabla, and a Black Moon Cosmetics last. Now, if I don't mention the formula or the shade in particular, I will list everything I talk about in order of when I swatch them in the description box. So that's, yeah, but that's the lineup that we're going to do. So we'll start with the liquid lipsticks. All right, Too Faced Melted Matte. This is in the shade Sellout. It is a really nice one. It's one that I love this formula. So there we go. It looks more rosy on camera than I think it does in person, but it's just a nice little mid-tone brown. We've got Kester Black. This is in Never Nude. I think I've got the matching nail polish to this. This one's a little bit more brown toned, but you can see it's the same sort of My Lips but better shade, just a little bit cooler. They smell really nice. This Ciate one is like a color flip. I don't remember what it's called specifically, but it's going to go on similar color to that Ciate one, but it's going to warm up to a peachy shade because it does change based on temperature. So that's the cold shade now, which is pretty much the same as the Kester Black one, which is a really nice shade that I like. It's quite cold at the moment. I'm not wearing any jumper or anything, so that might not warm up to the peach, but yeah, it's a color changing one. M Cosmetics, this is Morning Mocha. This is also sort of same kind of color, a little bit more warmer. There's a little bit more sort of orangey tones in that. The Sigma Cinderella collection, I really like this shade. Again, this is definitely a My Lips but better, so this is a good reference for what I can wear and it just like match everything. But again, it looks I'll zoom in a second. Maybe I'll zoom in now. Here we go. So they're all looking very, very similar, very, very minor sort of variation there. This is another one that I can use as a bit of a reference because I know this is like again, My Lips but better. It's the Pixi Beauty MatteLast Liquid Lip in Matte Beige. I've had this for a while. It's something I should probably pan soon. But I know that this sort of colour is definitely My Lips but better, and I can use it on everything. So those sort of two shades are a good reference for what I like to wear just as like my perfect nude. These three Kaleidos ones are way too similar. I'll swatch them in order. This is Nude 01. A little bit warmer, very similar to that one there. That was the M Cosmetics one. This one's Nude 02, which is a little bit deeper, and Nude 04. 03 was in my orange collection because that was a really beautiful burnt orange that I kept because I love it. You can see that this formula is definitely more sort of diffused matte, definitely more moussey, so it instantly looks matte when you apply. It's like a silicone sort of formula. These are liquid lipsticks that dry down eventually, but these sort of look matte straight off the bat. And then the lip tint, this one is sheerer, but it's very similar color to that one there. It's got a little bit of sort of peachiness to it, a bit of orange. So just looking at the liquid lipsticks, look, they're all very similar, but they're like my favorite nude, so it's sort of hard to get rid of them willy-nilly. I would say that the closest dupes seem to be these two here, but because this Ciate one is a color changing one, it's a different story. If they were the same sort of flat non-color changing formula, I'd probably declutter one of those because they're so similar. But that's probably the biggest sort of color dupe right now. Onto a few pencils. So the two NARS pencils to start with. This is Bad Girl, and then I'll put Decibel on. Let's see if this is similar. These are just look a bit lighter because they're thinner in consistency. But again, it's like a peachy mid-tone nude. It's a really nice one. That will be easy to pan actually. It's a smaller mini size that I got from a holiday set. And Decibel is very similar as well, but I like them both. This is hard. One's rosier, one's slightly warmer. And then this is Bourjois. This is called Nudeful, the shade. These are the Velvet, the pencils. And this is a little bit I think thicker in consistency. It's a little bit rosier. So next is my bullet lipsticks. These are the ones I actually reach for the most. So these are the ones I would prefer to keep over like the liquid lipsticks, for example. I've got a few different types here from MAC. I've got a new formula. This is, I think it's like the Velvet Blur Slim Stick. Yep. So it's a more sort of, supposed to be pigmented, creamy version of the Powder Kiss. I've got a Powder Kiss here. I also have one in my mauve pile over there. I have more traditional matte lipstick. So I've got Velvet Teddy, and I've also got a satin here. So we can compare a few formulas and see what I think, but I do know I use these quite a lot. But this one is, yeah, my most recent lipstick, and I've been using it quite a lot. So this is the new formula. Again, it's very similar to this sort of one here. 9 out of 10 times I prefer to reach for a bullet over a liquid lipstick. I think these are really nice and bold and last longer. So there's a time and a place for them. But on a daily basis, I would prefer a bullet. They're just more comfortable on the lips. I've got Teddy 2.0. So this is the Powder Kiss, and it's the same color as Velvet Teddy, which I do have here as well. So we can compare. You can see it's a lot lighter than what I've got on my arms. Sort of more similar to these because it's a little bit, it's because it's sheerer in sort of pigmentation, so it's not as opaque and bold. Again, it just makes it a little bit more wearable on a daily basis if you have like a lower makeup sort of effect. This is the traditional Velvet Teddy that's been smudged. I think my kid has got into that one, so I've got to fix that up because I am not getting rid of Velvet Teddy. I love Velvet Teddy, and again, it's a shade that it's a little bit rosy for my sort of everyday lip, but I love it. It works throughout the year for me, and it works with a variety of different makeup tones. So those are supposed to be the same color, just one's a little bit more sheerer and one's a little bit more pigmented. And now I'm going to tidy up this bullet because I'm keeping it. There we go. Not as nice as it originally was, but still very usable. So that's Velvet Teddy. This one is the same formula as Velvet Teddy, but it's the shade Kinda Sexy, which is a little bit more peachy. It actually sort of, yeah, it's a little bit brighter, a little bit more peachy, but it is just as pretty on the lips. So those are very different. This is a satin from the Patrick Star collection. It's called Mama Star. Let's see how different. I think this is a bit deeper. Sort of looks quite similar to that Too Faced one, which I'll move the angle so you can see it soon. But this is a nice sort of satin lipstick. It's very, very pigmented, but not as matte finish as some of these up here. This is an Essence lipstick. It's in the shade 03. I think it's called Bold, or This Is Me. I'm not sure, but I'll swatch it in here. It's very creamy. It's actually quite a nice lipstick. It looks quite similar to the one next to it, which was one of the NARS lip pencils, but we'll see how we go. All right, this Nabla one, I love this shade, but the tube fell out when I was looking at the color, and then I tried to push it back in and it sort of broke at the top, and it's very, very fragile. It's not just a bit mucked up like my toddler did to my MAC one. This one is sort of unstable, but the color is so good. Oh, I really love it. Smooth. It's beautiful. I love this color. It's called Lust. I'll see if I can tidy this up and make it work because this is a beautiful formula, beautiful color. All right, still a bit fragile, but I've tried to tidy it up a little bit. This might have to go into the project pan pile so I can use it up and enjoy it before it breaks entirely. It's beautiful formula, really creamy, really opaque. Love the color. So that might be panned. We've got Black Moon Cosmetics. This is in the shade Misery. They've got some interesting colors. It's probably the most standard. It's quite similar to the one next to it, to be fair. A little bit more mauvey toned. But love the formula of this. Really nice and opaque. Really comfortable. It's a satin formula. Lasts a long time. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And then the last one is Charlotte Tilbury. This is a mini of Pillow Talk. Now, Pillow Talk is supposed to be a dupe for MAC Velvet Teddy, which is up here. So I'm going to swatch it next to it. If it is a nice dupe, like if it is a dupe and I want to get rid of it, this is so tiny, I'll probably just project pan it. But let's do a bit of a swatcheroo here. It looks a bit more pink, but it is very similar. Like if I said I swatched the same shade there, you'd be like, yeah, I believe you. So this might go into a panning pile. There's no point getting rid of it. It's a lovely lipstick, nice little mini for a handbag. But that's all the sort of mid-tony nudes that I wear on a daily basis. These are my favorite nudes. These are the ones I gravitate towards when I see a new range. So yeah, I'm going to show you from a new angle because this shadow probably isn't helping, and I'm going to try to pick out a few to compare on my lips. All right, so that's all the nudes there with light front on, so no shadows. You can definitely see that Velvet Teddy and Pillow Talk are very, very similar. Again, these are very similar, but one's a color changing one, so it's a different sort of vibe entirely. I do think these two look quite similar. So that was Sigma and Pixi. And I also think there's some orangey shades that are quite similar. So that was that lip stain. That was one of the Kaleidos ones. And I can even compare, I believe that was the M Cosmetics one. I can sort of compare those three because they've got sort of orangey tones to them. Essence and the NARS lip pencil look very similar, so I can probably compare those two. And I would say that one there, which was the MAC Patrick Star Satin versus the Too Faced, they look really similar. Obviously a different formula. One is satin and sort of shiny and creamy, and one is very set matte. So I'll compare those two, and I'll just pick out a few more. Those last two were quite similar as well. All right, so I swatched some similar shades, and it's going to be very unsatisfying for you guys. Essentially, I can spot nuances in everything because these are my favorite lip colors. I put them on, I'm like, God, that's beautiful. I love it. It's beautiful. Lovely formula. Love it. Da 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 da. Blah blah blah. So I'm finding it really hard to narrow it down. The only, yeah, there's nuances in everything. I like every shade. The only ones I can pick out as being things that I'm going to get rid of or put in my project pan. Firstly, I swatched MAC and Velvet Teddy. Half my lips with one, half my lips with the other. They are different. I find that Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk is a little bit lighter and pinker, whereas MAC Velvet Teddy is a little bit deeper and cool toned. So I could keep them both, but I don't really need to. So I'm going to pan this one. I'm going to put it in my pan pile. There's no point getting rid of it. It's a lovely lipstick. Now, when it comes to the Kaleidos lipsticks, I do feel like there's too many of them here. I swatched them all. They're all really nice. The one I'm planning on getting rid of is Sienna. Now, Sienna is a slightly deeper, more orangey tone shade, but because I swatched an orange toned one in my last video that I love, love, love. This is sort of like a mix between that orange and one of the nude shades. It's like a, yeah, just a slightly nudier version of the orange. And I don't think I'll reach for this over the orange shade from the last video. So I'm going to get rid of the shade Sienna just because it's not one that I sort of see myself reaching for over these sort of more true nudes. There's one that's more like a neutral nude, one that's slightly rosier. And I sort of think these are sort of really nice everyday throw on shades, whereas the one that's delving into the orange category, I'm just going to go all out and go the orange, to be fair. Everything else I really like, but I am going to take out my Nabla one to pan as well, just because it's a very fragile broken tube and I feel like I want to use it before I lose it. So that one's going into the pan pile. Everything else I really enjoy. These are my favorite nude lip kind of colors. So obviously it's going to be something that is hard to declutter anything further because I use them every day. All right, let's get on to the slightly lighter shades but similar tones. I've got 3 MAC, I've got a Kaleidos, Bourgeois, and this is a Melted Matte from Too Faced. This Sugar Cookie one I love. I've actually got 2 of these. I'm not going to get rid of it because, again, I don't really use light nudes, but when the light nude shade doesn't look like concealer lips and actually looks quite flattering, it can really suit some specific makeup looks. And this is one that I know is a really flattering one on me. So I'm going to use this as like, let's not go any lighter than this, because if it is much lighter, I'm probably not going to use it, let's be fair. But let's swatch some MAC. I've got a Patrick Star. This is talking about light. This is the lightest of light. This is not a good shade for me. It's called Peachy Peter. And I originally was like, I might use this as a mixing shade because it's a really nice way to cool, like to tone down a look. But let's be real. I've got so many varieties of nudes that if I want just a toned down nude, I probably have the shade that I want. So this one is probably going to go, to be fair. This one is a limited edition shade. It's a Powder Kiss. It's a little bit too light for me. It's not too light, but it just doesn't really show up on the lips. This is one that I've bought since doing my lip declutter, but this is a Year of a Tiger. I'm a Year of a Tiger. And it just looks like my lips, but better, but really, really, really subtle. So it's one that I was a little bit disappointed in because it's barely noticeable on the lips. but because it's like a collector thing, I'm going to keep this. But this to me, like the formula's nice, it just doesn't look like I've done anything to my lips except for slightly perfect it. So there's a reason for it, but I'm not in love with it. This one is the one I was wearing in the intro to this video. So this is Honeylove. This is one I got free with an order recently. It's the matte formula, and this is again sort of borderline. I can wear it. You can see it in the video. You can see that it's on my lips. It's a little bit more opaque than the Powder Kiss one. So this one looks a lot more natural on me. This one looks like I'm wearing a matte lipstick, but it is a lighter shade, but it is very pretty. Kaleidos, this is the shade Nude 07 Skin Ship. So we'll see if I need this one. It's a little bit more brown toned, but the same sort of depth of color, just a little bit less rosy. So it's one I'll probably use, to be fair. This is like a beige shade from Bourjois. I really like these lip pencils, but I tend to wear them a little bit more when they're the red. This is very similar to Honeylove, so I might do a swatch comparison of the two. The texture feels different though. Honeylove feels a little bit lighter. That looks a little bit more dense. And then lastly, Melted Matte in Sugar Cookie, which I know I really, really dig. And that one is a beautiful sort of, it's like a beigey, pinky nude, but it's very similar again to this one here. So I might swatch those three, but do I need all three? I can have all three. It doesn't bother me. I don't have too many light nudes, to be fair. All right, in the spirit of decluttering, I will get rid of one of these. They are very similar, but mainly it's the finishes that are different. MAC Honeylove is a little bit more pink toned than Sugar Cookie. Sugar Cookie is slightly cooler toned. It also looks a little bit more opaque just because I think it's a little bit lighter on the lips. And also the formula is liquid lipstick, so opaque. So these both are very pretty. They both are different enough. When it comes to Bourjois and Too Faced, I feel like these shades are very, very, very similar. But because this is a matte pencil, it looks a little bit drier on the lips just from the get-go. Yeah, so I don't need both of those because I don't need both of those. So I'm probably going to get rid of this one, even though I do like it. I just probably don't need it, to be fair. All right, let's go on to the sort of slightly deeper shades. These are the more warmer shades. There are some interesting sort of sandy shades here. There are some that are a little bit maybe more orangey toned, and then some that are more brown deeper. I know this one's a brown, like a, yeah, deeper brown shade. So yeah, let's swatch these. We'll go liquid lipsticks first and then Bullet. All right, this is a Huda Beauty one. I know I love this shade. This is a shade that I tried to pan, but it took me a while and I was getting frustrated, but I do know it's a shade that I like. I think this is actually quite similar to an orangey brown that I swatched in my last video, which was a Too Faced one that I kept. So this one could be on the chopping block just because I know it's very, very similar, and I did try to pan it previously and was unsuccessful. It's getting quite old. This is the shade Toast from Anastasia Beverly Hills. It's a liquid lipstick. I do find these to be quite dry, but they are very opaque, and this one's a really nice sort of cooler toned, deeper nude. Lime Crime, this is really interesting. This is like a grungy shade. It's called Shroom. It's like a mustardy sort of, yeah, mushroom brown. It's very, I should have swatched this actually in my last video because I had like a interesting color similar to this, like a mustardy color. This is not technically a nude, but you can see it's quite unique. Kaleidos, this is Cold Smoke. You can see it's this beautiful sort of dark brown. I do have some other dark browns from them that I also kept in a past video, so this one might be getting a bit redundant. I'm not too sure. This Jeffree Star liquid lipstick, I don't like Jeffree Star, but Baby Daddy, I love this shade. It's really unique. It's hard to find. And I don't think I have anything else like it. It doesn't suit all makeup looks, but it's like the most perfect. How do you describe like a cool tone sandy brown? Is that how I describe that? It's like a mix of sandy color and greige, and it's really unique. I can't find anything like it, and it's surprisingly flattering, believe it or not. The MAC Patrick Star, this is Ultimate Diva. It's a retro matte liquid lipstick. I love this formula. It's actually a really, really nice formula. And this one is probably most similar to the first one. So I can probably do a swatch off with this one and the Huda one. Last liquid lipstick is by Black Moon Cosmetics. This is the shade Dusk, and it's just a matte liquid lipstick. It's a dark chocolatey reddy brown as well, so similar to that, just a little bit deeper maybe. And or is it very, I might do those three as a swatch off. Now onto the bullets. This is Latte from Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is a bullet lipstick. This range has been discontinued. I think this is probably most similar to that sort of color over there. It's very dark and it's very, very matte. These will dry down matte, but this is a really matte bullet. I might swatch that compared to those other ones. Melt. This is the shade Voyeur, and it's a really cool one. It's sort of more similar to that weird Jeffree Star one. This again is a weird sandy color, and it's really unique and sort of hard to find. I'd say it's more yellow toned than the Jeffree Star one, but they both are really cool shades. And they're very hard to find. They're really, really unique. I might compare it to this one actually, because I don't think I like that formula as much. And I feel like if it looks similar on the lips, I don't need both, to be fair. I might swatch the three just out of curiosity. All right, the last one was going to be a Pat McGrath one, but I'm actually going to hold this off and put this in the reds, because even though it's called Flesh 3, and I was like, oh, it's nudie brown color, it's actually more wine colored. So I'm probably going to put that in with the red video. All right, we're going to make a little bit of progress here. Firstly, I compared the two Anastasia Beverly Hills ones. One's a matte bullet, one's a matte liquid lipstick formula. Both of these are very, very close dupes in color. I know that liquid lipstick formula can be a bit drying, so I think I'm actually, this is a dry bullet to be fair, but I could put a lip balm under it. I know this is a little bit easier, like it wears off a little bit better. So I'm going to get rid of the liquid lipstick and keep the bullet. Also, these are discontinued and I like the formula of them. So yeah, essentially same color, just different formula, getting rid of the liquid lipstick. I compared these three and they were very similar. They're all the same sort of color, but slightly different depths. So the Huda Beauty one, which is the shade Trendsetter, is a little bit lighter than the MAC Patrick Star one. And the Black Moon Cosmetics is a little bit darker than this one. So this one falls right in between. I know I like this formula the best out of the three. So if I'm going to reach for one, it's probably going to be this one. So I'm getting rid of these two. Then I compared these three weird sort of mushroomy, sandy, interesting colors. They all quite different. The closest two would be the Melt shade Voyeur and the Jeffree Star in Baby Daddy. Baby Daddy is a little bit more grey tone, so it's like this weird grey tone sandy shade, whereas this is like a weird sandy shade. I don't know which one I like more. They're both really unique, but they both sort of serve a purpose. And the Lime Crime one is a lot deeper and a lot more sort of rich in tone. It looks less nude and a lot more like colourful. So these are, in my opinion, different enough to keep. Am I going to wear them every day? Absolutely not, but I would probably regret getting rid of one over another. However, I did a lip swatch of this Kaleidos one, so it's the shade Cold Smoke. I did mention that I've got some browns that I covered in my last video. This is a very cool tone brown. I think I like the other browns more, so I'm going to get rid of this because I just feel like if I was going to reach for a brown from this formula, I would reach for a different one. Another thing I came across that I want to talk about, this is a lippy stick from Colourpop. I like lippy sticks. I think they're really nice. This is in the shade Parker. I think this would have actually suited the first round of swatching a lot better than any of the other rounds. So I'm just going to talk about it now. I'm not even going to bother swatching it. Similar to my Pat McGrath one in my last video, this one, the ingredients has separated. So if you open it up, it's a matte formula and the matte ingredient has separated. Now, look, I don't mind too much. Like, I don't like this. It's not good. In my last video, it happened on a pink Pat McGrath lipstick, and I know another Pat McGrath lipstick has done the same thing, so they'll be featured in the next video. But essentially what it is, the matte ingredient has sort of seeped out and it has separated. It's sort of like chocolate bloom. So when chocolate gets heated up and then cooled down, sometimes ingredients can separate, like the oils can separate, and it sort of settles on the outside. So technically it's still usable if you really wanted to use it. That's the shade. It's a really beautiful shade. You can just wipe it off and use it, but because I have so many lipsticks, I don't think I should put up with something that's a bit unstable. But yeah, moral to the story is if you really like a lipstick and this happens to you, or you've spent a lot of money on a Pat McGrath one, it's happened. It just means that it was not the most stable formula, but it's still generally pretty safe to use if you want to use it. This is enough at the moment in this declutter for me to get rid of this, so I'm decluttering this one. All right, last category. This is more of the rosy, look, these are more mauvey toned nudes. Some of them possibly could have fit in the first category, but I needed to split them up somehow, so I don't use this category nearly as much as the first sort of neutral category, so I probably can sacrifice quite a few of these, so hopefully we make a bit of progress here. There's some familiar brands here, you know, Melted Mattes from Too Faced, Kaleidos. This is actually one that hasn't popped up in this video. It's Coloured Rain. We've got Stila, Colourpop Ultra Satin Lip, which is far superior to the Ultra Matte, and they discontinued it stupidly. Kester Black, Pixi. This is a YSL little mini. It's a sample, so if I get rid of it, I don't really care. We've got the same bullet lipsticks we've seen, Bare Minerals. This one here is a Maybelline Superstay Ink Crayon. It's a really nice formula. And of course, we've got a Powder Kiss from MAC. All right, and dressing gown has come on because it is freezing cold. It's nice and sunny outside, but somehow freezing cold inside. This is Suck It. What a lovely name. This is like verging on. Is it a berry shade? Is it a dark nude? It really just depends on how you categorize things. So it is what it is, but that is Suck It. I really like this one, Queen Bee. It's an oldie but a goodie. This is one of the first ones I've had. Like first of this formula that I bought, and you can see it's a lot lighter, but it's a really beautiful sort of cool toned mauvey shade. It's really pretty. This is a holiday limited edition shade. It's Hot Toddy. It's a little bit warmer version of Suck It. I actually think this is one I'd wear a lot more than that cooler toned. If I'm going to go cooler toned, I actually think lighter suits me a bit better. So I might try those on and just compare them. These Kaleidos ones came out in more of a sort of rosy collection. So these are nude shades, but you can see they're a little bit rosier than the first ones that I showed. It's a nice shade though, isn't it? And that's Nude 5 Bear. Nude 6 is Pink Moon. It already sounds a bit too pink for my liking. That's actually really nice. So one is a little bit more muted, one is a little bit more vibrant. They're both nice shades. It looks quite peachy. Coloured Rain. This is the shade Mars, which is again sort of like a, oh, it's very cool toned. On camera, this looks a little bit more brown than it is. I might show you from a different angle from my perspective anyway. It's definitely a cooler tone shade, but it may be not as purpley as these. I'm not sure. This is the Stila liquid lipstick in Sienna. Very pretty. So this is, again, more of this, but a little bit deeper. A little bit more reddy toned. This is a mini in the shade Patina, which I actually want to compare to Queen Bee because I feel like it's very similar. Maybe a little bit more pink, less cool toned, but same sort of vibe. Colourpop Ultra Satin Lip in Dreamy. This is a little bit more peachy, so I might put it here. I really like this shade. It's a really nice sort of wearable orange. I like oranges, but it's more of like a nude orange. It's really pretty. So that actually looks quite similar to Kaleidos one. I might compare them, but I think this is a little bit more orange and a little bit more vibrant. Daydream from Kester Black. This, where do we put this? Maybe next to it. Oh yeah, it's very similar in the vibe of it, of these three. But it's a little bit more pink toned and that's a little bit more orange toned. So I'll compare those three. This is Pastel Petal from Pixi. I think the beige ones is my like true nude color, but this is also really pretty. It's a little bit more cool toned. And you can see it's a little bit more nude, but it's, yeah, it's that rosy sort of cool tone nude that suits this sort of grouping. YSL Lip Stain, the matte stain in the shade 16. Again, that's, sort of similar to this sort of vibe here, these sort of corally pink nude shades. Then on to pencils and bullets, which I don't have too many of. We'll start with NARS. This is the shade Dolce Vita. These are starting to look very red compared to the other nudes that we've used, but on the lips they are definitely considered more of your nudie pinks, and that is, look, these show up a lot better on your lips than they do on swatches, but you can see it's that velvety sort of finish. It's not as opaque as liquid lipsticks, but it is that sort of same colour story. Bourgeois, this is a shade number 5. This one probably sits up here a little bit more. It's definitely a little bit more greyish, but really, really pretty. So again, a little bit more grey toned than the Queen Bee from Too Faced. Bare Minerals, this is the shade Petal. It's the Bare Pro. It's a matte lipstick. I actually have panned a mini one of these, so I'm very familiar with them. This is a lot more pink. It sort of could be similar to this NARS one, but you can see it's a lot more cool toned. So it sort of belongs around here, but looks a lot different from the purpley tone. So that is quite different. The Maybelline Ink Crayon in Trust Your Gut is actually probably the most similar to that last one I just swatched, that Bare Minerals one. So maybe I can look. They look like this sort of grouping looks like they could be quite similar. Lastly is Sultry Mauve by MAC. This is a Powder Kiss formula, which is quite different from all these other formulas, but it is a mauve, so it's sort of down here. It looks sort of similar to those, but obviously a different finish. All right, in this different angle, you can see all the sort of nuances. There are definitely some more mauvey, some more corally, some more pinky. There are some that I can probably compare, like those look very similar, those look semi-similar. These here look quite similar. All right, I did some lip swatches. Oh, my lips, they are sad. These two were very, very similar in color, so I don't need them both. Look, I would have thought I would like the Bare Minerals formula more. It felt a little bit drier on the lips than this Maybelline one, so I think I'm going to keep the Maybelline one and get rid of this one. The Pixi one looks a little bit lighter and a little bit more bold, but I like them both. So they are similar, but their formula is quite different, so I'm going to keep those. I also compared all of these because these were more of the pinky, rosy, corally shades. Firstly, I want to say the two Kaleidos shades are really, really gorgeous. They're really fun shades. One's more true nude, one's more pinky sort of fun summer nude. I like them both. I'm keeping them. NARS Dolce Vita barely shows up on me. It's so sheer that it like shows up almost as like nothing, but it's a really pretty shade. And because it's a mini, I'm actually going to try to pan this. This is the type of shade that I can imagine reapplying a couple of times a day. Easy to use up. I like NARS formula, so I'm going to actually put this in the panning pile. The YSL lip color was quite similar to Dolce Vita, but just a little bit more bold. So I do think they're different enough. I'm going to probably keep that. That might be panned in the future as well. And then these two were surprisingly very similar. So we've got Kester Black and we've got Colourpop, and the colors were both these beautiful, vibrant, peachy sort of nudes. And to be fair, I think I'm going to keep the Colourpop one. It's a satin formula. I know it wears well. It's a little bit more comfortable. The Kester Black one might wear a bit longer, but it is a little bit more drying and looks a little bit drier on the lips. So these were so similar. I was surprised at how similar these are. So like them both. I don't use this color too often. It's a nice sort of summer color, but I'm going to get rid of this because it's a little bit more dry. Lastly, I compared these and luckily they were easy to compare because they're all the same sort of formula. Matte liquid lipsticks, quite bold. Suck It is a little bit more purple toned. It's a little bit more like wine toned. I don't like it as much as this Hot Toddy one, which is a little bit more red toned. It just suits my colouring a little bit better. So I'm actually going to get rid of this. And the Steeler Sienna shade, I think it was, is a similar sort of colour, but a little bit more brown toned. And I couldn't really pick which one I liked more, so I'm going to keep both of these. All right, so after all of that, I have split them up into keeping and eventually organising and putting away, decluttering and project panning. I also added in this shade, Bad Girl from the NARS It was a holiday collection. It's just a nude shade. It was very similar to the other one that I had, and I thought, look, I may as well try to use it up. So there's 4 shades here that I'm going to pan. I'm going to put this in like a pan drawer, and throughout the rest of the year and next year I'll start trying to pan some lip products. So 3 of them are minis, so they should be fairly easy, and one of them I don't want to get rid of, but it's just a bit fragile, and yeah, I want to use it before it breaks too much. And down here I have 11 lip products that I am decluttering. So one of them I'll back to MAC, but these are sort of like redundant shades or things that I won't wear over other shades. So yeah, look, I'm not decluttering heaps, but it's good to get rid of some redundancy and to really analyze which shades I think I will use more. So we're going to leave that there for today, and my next video in this series will be my red lipsticks, which I'll tackle in a week or 2, so they'll be up in a few weeks time. And until then, I will see you soon. Bye.